Anyway, also, it occurred to me talking about gold. I remember that, Gold Line's trial is supposed to start sometime in January, I think, there in Santa Monica. They got 12 counts of fraud and theft and all kinds of things. But I wanted to check out the Better Business Bureau because, remember, they had an A-plus rating on Gold Line, even though they had all these customer complaints on their site, and even though the company obviously rips people off. So I went to the Better Business Bureau, and the A-plus rating is no longer there. I said, okay, well, at least they're not rating him A-plus. What are they rating him now? Did they at least give him a C? No. They have no rating whatsoever on a scale of A-plus to F. They have no rating, even though there are 70 complaints to the Better Business Bureau in the last 3 years on their website. Detailed complaints. If you go there and read them, you can see these are paragraphs and paragraphs of specific details of clients who are pissed off because they got ripped off or lied to on this thing. Plus, they acknowledge that they're the subject of a criminal complaint. And here's what they say. They have no rating at all. And it says BBB does not have enough information to rate this company. They don't have enough information. They had enough information to give them an A+, but now that they have even more information, they claim they don't have enough information to rate them, and so there's no rating. Now, I took a look at the Better Business Bureau's rating of Euro Pacific Capital, my brokerage firm. They give me an F, the lowest rating you can possibly give. Now, how much information do they have on my company? They have one customer complaint in 30 years. Just one. And it was filed a couple of months ago in September of 2011. Now, I have no idea. They never contacted me about it. And if you look at the complaint, because it's up there on their website, it just says problems with product/service. That's it. No explanation. Nothing compared to the Gold Line complaints where they're very specific. It just says problem with product or service. What problem? Who's complaining? What is it? But that's all they've got. All they've got. Yet that's enough to give me an F. They've got all this information on Gold Line. Tons of it. Right? And a company that they had rated A+ for years. Now they have additional information, the additional information being they've been charged criminally with fraud for stealing from their customers. So now they have even more information, but suddenly they can't rate them? Yet they've got practically no information at all on my company. They've got one nameless complaint in 3 years, and I'm an F? Now, the thing is, before this complaint came in, because I remember when I originally checked my rating after I saw this thing about Gold Line, their A+ rating, I had a C-. So they had no information on my company. They had no complaints whatsoever, yet they still were able to give me a C-. They have all this information on Gold Line, and they can't rate them. The reason is they don't want to give Gold Line a bad rating because Gold Line pays them money. I've never paid a nickel to the BBB. That's why I got an F. I got an F because I don't pay them. But if you pay them, you'll get an A or an A+. And even if you've been charged with crimes, even if you're stealing from your customers, they won't give you a negative rating. I mean, so what kind of service is this Better Business Bureau when their marks are for sale? I mean, they have totally tarnished their brand. In fact, I went and looked up a lot of other precious metals dealers that I know are ripping their customers off with inflated markups and high-pressure sales tactics. And if you go to their sites on the BBB, they've got 40, 50, 60 complaints, with the BBB, right? Every one of these companies had an A or an A+. Every single one of them. And then these companies go and they say rated A+ or A by the Better Business Bureau as if it's supposed to mean something, as if a rating from the Better Business Bureau conveys any information whatsoever about a company. As far as I'm concerned, these guys are liable. If you invested in a company, if you bought precious metals from a company that had an A+ rating from the BBB, as far as I'm concerned, they can be sued when you sue your broker if you got ripped off, if you paid a 50, 60, 70% markup, if you bought gold when it was $1,000 an ounce and you're still down even though it's $1,600 because you were talked into buying one of these overpriced coins. Not only can you sue the company for misrepresentation or fraud, but you could probably go after the BBB as well if they gave him an A+, because based on what? Did they actually do any research? Did they actually look into the sales practices of these businesses? If companies are charging such inflated markups, even if they have no complaints, how can you give them an A? Yet when you're loaded up with complaints, and me, I had no complaints, one complaint, and I'm an F. Anyway, have any guests today? You know, earlier this morning, I contacted the Better Business Bureau because I was curious to find out what exactly the complaint was. I talked about it yesterday, what the complaint was that resulted in our F rating. We only had one complaint. And so, I called them up, and I initially got someone who answered the phone, and I told them my business, where I was located. And the first thing the woman said to me was, "Oh, it looks like your business has been getting some complaints." And I said, "Some? Are there more than one?" And then when she looked at it, she said, "Well, there's only one." I said, "Okay, so we're not getting complaints. You have one single complaint." And then I asked her, what was the complaint about? Because I said, when I went on the website, it doesn't have any details of the complaint. And then she said, "Well, we don't put details of the complaints up on the website," which, of course, is not true. I said, "What do you mean you don't put details? Look at, there's details." I went to Goal Line. They got 70 complaints, and they're paragraphs long. They're very specific. So apparently she didn't know. But she transferred me to a supervisor on complaints. I left her a voicemail. She did call me back very promptly. That was one thing. I did get a call back. And I got an email from her today about what the complaint was. She claims she sent it to us some time ago and that we never answered it. I never saw it, but I did get a copy of it. And here's the actual complaint. This is it. From a customer. "I requested to transfer my IRA account from Euro Pacific Capital well over a month ago to Sterling Trust, and to my knowledge, there has been little action on Euro Pacific to fulfill my request. I believe they are delaying the process. Customers desired resolution. My hope is that Euro Pacific will complete the transaction as soon as possible." Now I am inquiring into this complaint to see if we can figure out what the delay was in transferring this person's IRA. Sometimes the process takes a while. There's a lot of paperwork involved. Maybe he gave us some misinformation on the form. There might have been other reasons that the IRA transfer could have been held up. I mean, there's so much paperwork now because of all the regulations that sometimes things take longer than clients would like. A lot of times it's not our fault. And, of course, sometimes we just don't even get there. Sometimes this stuff gets lost in the mail. You can send us something in the mail. We might not receive it. But anyway, I'm looking into it. But, again, that is the only complaint they have. And based solely on that complaint, they give me an F. An F for that. That's the complaint. Go to the Goal Line website and you look at all these complaints. Go read them if you want to. 70 complaints. And those are the ones that complain to the Better Business Bureau. You don't know about complaints that are going someplace else, but these are complaints about people saying how they got ripped off, how they were lied to, how they didn't get what they ordered, how they were pressured into buying something they didn't want, how the gold has gone up and yet they've lost a fortune on their coins. These are real complaints. And first they had an A+ despite all those complaints, and now that they've been indicted criminally, the only thing that the BBB can do is say we don't have enough information to give them a rating. They don't have enough information. They got piles of information, yet they have nothing on me except that one little email about a IRA transfer that's taking longer than he thinks, and that's enough information to give me an F. Anyway, that's the Better Business Bureau for you. Anyway,